Hey guys, it's your girl Millet and welcome to the great outdoors. I couldn't film at home because it was a full house, so I decided to come to the park. But as you guessed, this is another book video. These are the books that I have read so far. Read these during quarantine while I traveled here and in my spare time while I was waiting for school to begin in September. So these are kind of like my, autumn and summer reads thus far. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it before the light disappears and sun sets and I can't do this now.
Hey guys, same day me, just editing, and I realized I got the name of the first book wrong. It's called Winter in Socho. So I'm just inserting this clip to correct myself, and well, let's get back to, the main show.
The first book is called Socho. It's a really cool cover, which is initially what drew me to it. And I'm one of those book readers who will read like the first page or two just to gauge whether or not I'd be interested in a book, because if I don't, then why would I buy the book? So this book is based in Socho, a town on the North and South Korean border. I really enjoyed this book because it laid out in vivid language like the surroundings of the characters, and it really went into depth about identity, belonging, and who belongs where and what identity means. It also reflects on how someone can have such a big impact when they just kind of pop into your life and pop back out, and it explores this idea of taking from a place or taking from a culture and then using that in artistic works or any other works without context, and how sometimes that can be harmful to the people and the impacts of that. It's not like a deeply sociological book in that way, but that's what I took from it. I also really enjoyed, the storyline. It's basically about a woman who works at the hotel in Socho, and she checks in a French guest, and it's kind of apparent from the beginning that these two are going to form a relationship, and their relationship does blossom, just not in the way that you would expect. And although it's not a romantic relationship, it is almost an odd friendship and an acquaintance at the least. It definitely does leave an impact, on our characters, their encounter with each other and what they end up doing. The second book we have is called There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job. Now, what drew me to this book was first of all the title, the cover colors, and also the first page of the book. Basically about a woman who returns to employment after quitting her previous job, and she returns to employment because her insurance ran out and she's living at home, and she needs a source of income. Who doesn't need money in this world? And it basically takes us through the different aspects of each job and why she quits her previous job and her current jobs as you're going through the book. And the book is divided into each type of job, if you would, and I am still reading this book, so I don't exactly know how it ends, what happens. I really found it relatable because when you're on the job hunt, it's hard and it's tough, and it made me wonder, what would my perfect job be? It made me think, okay, wait, hang on a minute, do I even want to work in the first place? Because time is a valuable thing and you're never going to get it back. Also just gives us a glimpse into the society that we live in today, and what a good job means and what having a job means or what not having a job means. And yeah guys, I'm thoroughly enjoying it so far. One of my favorite reads this year so far definitely got to be this next book, Luster by Raven Lalani. It's a complex story packed into a very short book. As you can see, it's a tiny book, and it's basically about Edie, this African-American woman, young, like 23 I think, and she's having an affair with a married man. I say affair because in the book it does state that it's an open marriage situation, but an affair. It kind of begins in that way, and then what happens is that Edie ends up meeting the wife, Rebecca, and she ends up living with Rebecca, the husband, and their adopted child. And what's really interesting is how the plot develops. You see how the relationships progress, change, and evolve. And what's really fascinating about this book is that Edie and Rebecca end up forming a relationship, and through that relationship, Edie kind of rediscovers not only herself but her artistic talents, and she also rediscovers kind of what she wants out of life. I really enjoyed this book because it comments not only on socioeconomic things like race, class, and gender, but it also kind of makes you realize just how you can grow and bloom and rediscover yourself in an environment which can be nothing but hostile, to say the least, and extremely difficult. And to be fair, I could not put this book down, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I would say it was definitely worth the buy. The next book is called Pumpkinheads. It's the perfect autumn read, guys. I cannot gush enough about this book. It's basically about two friends, Deja and Josiah, and their last day working at a pumpkin patch. Deja is determined to help her friend Josiah speak to his crush at the pumpkin patch, and it kind of takes us on that little adventure, but it doesn't end the way you would, expect. What I appreciated about this book was definitely the artwork, just the vivid colors inside, just to give you guys an idea. And although it's very simple, it's very effective because the illustrator used such amazing techniques to get complex emotions across in this book, and I really appreciate that. And I also appreciate the color because a lot of graphic novels can be monotone or have a certain color scheme, so I really appreciated that. And I also appreciated the fact that the main character Deja, she doesn't fit any beauty standards or stereotypes, and she's got a personality and spunk. What I also appreciate about this book is that Deja is on the spectrum, the LGBTQIA+ spectrum, and I think that just gives representation to people of color, especially black females who are on the spectrum and feel that they're not represented by mainstream media. I saw myself, parts of myself, in Deja, and I really appreciated being seen and my emotions being expressed really well, I might add. The next book is more of like a sporadic read. It's not a story per se, and the way this book is written is that it's just wise words from the author who has gone through depression and has written down some of their thoughts and feelings in different stages. And it's a really encouraging book and a really beautiful book if you are someone who experiences depression or anxiety or has mental health issues, or even if you're just going through a really tough time in life, because life ain't always easy, guys. And this book is really one of those books which you can pick up and open, and on some page you will find some inspiration to keep on going. I appreciated most was that it doesn't have a set storyline or it doesn't have a set format. You kind of just open it whichever way you want. Some pages are paragraphs, some pages are like mini chapters. It's just 1-2 sentences and then a whole page. Other times it almost reads like a poem, like this part here. Personally, I've experienced having anxiety or going through a really hard time and needing a pick-me-up without needing a story or seeing someone else, and it's really helped me to heal things that I had to look inside to do, and this book helped me do that. So if you are one of those people going through a tough time, needing a pick-me-up, or just something relatable, extremely relatable, this is for you. The next book I have read, which again is a graphic novel. I couldn't put it down. It's a very quick read, guys, like 30-40 minutes, maybe an hour at the most, but an hour is really stretching it. It's called What We Don't Talk About, and it's basically about Farai, who is from Zimbabwe, she's black, and Adam, and they are in a relationship, interracial relationship. Basically, the story takes place when Adam takes Farai to go and meet his parents. Now, within the first 10 pages, we are introduced to Adam's father and mother, his parents, and you feel the animosity right from the get-go, from the ink on the page. You feel the macro and microaggressions and how these people do not want Farai in their house. They do not like her because she is black. Anyway, as the book progresses and the story progresses throughout this visit, we see how Adam's family is basically racist, and they don't see it, they don't acknowledge it. And Adam, although he acknowledges it, he doesn't stand up for Farai in the way that he should. He doesn't defend her and tell his parents, hey, this is wrong. And she ends up making a decision which impacts their whole relationship after she has experienced micro and macro aggressions from Adam's family. Kind of speaks up for herself, but as she says in the book, it would be nice if he had said something. Really appreciate the colors in this book, the artwork in this book, and how like pumpkin heads, the illustrations are very simple, they're extremely effective, and the use of color definitely depicts each mood, each scene, and I am living. I really enjoyed how it tackled the topics of prejudice, racism, macro and microaggressions, and knowing when to speak up and what's right, and knowing your worth, and how no relationship on this planet Earth, don't matter what you look like, is worth going through anything that is going to make you feel like you are not safe, protected, heard and understood the way you should be, period. So my second last book is Clara Anderson. I know it's neon. This is a very good read, period. Doesn't need a season, and this was genuinely a very touching, heartwarming book. And it's basically about Clara, an artificial friend, because this is based in the future. So artificial friend who is bought by Josie and her mother. She has to learn about Josie and accompany her and be her friend. The reason why Josie was bought an artificial friend, aka Clara, was because Josie's mother had planned to replace Josie with Clara, because Josie had been ill, as a child, and the mother kind of wanted to have Josie with her forever. So that's the initial reason, which we learn of in the book. But then as the story and the book progress, you learn that although Clara could have done the job because she's very observant, she's an AI who is more perceptive and understanding and knowledgeable than other AIs, she never really would have been able to do it because she's not human. And because she's not human, Josie's parents, friends, and other relationships that Josie had would simply be beyond her reach. And we see how Clara in the end understands this, and although she's been, a dutiful AI, she doesn't fulfill the intended purposes. The story kind of takes place from Clara's perspective. It's Clara telling the story, and how she goes through this whole big adventure to ask the sun to make Josie better so that she can live her life and go to school and university and all these things. And we see how that progresses, and it's a really beautiful book because we see how Clara learns about humanity, what it means to be human, and how she can fulfill her purpose, but only to an extent. And she will never really be Josie, but she'll be Clara. So guys, this is the last book I have for you in this video. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed this. Let me know. And it is called 7 Days in June. Now, this is a book. It's thick, I know, but this is a book that you can easily finish within 2 days. That is how good this book was. So basically, this book is about Eva, who is a author, and she goes through some debilitating migraines and headaches, and she's not well all of the time. She's not 100% okay. And then we have Shane, who is also an author, and he is a recovering alcoholic. He had some drug substance abuse issues as a child and adolescent, and it kind of takes place when these two meet at an event, and they had not expected to see each other, but they have a history. And this history is basically the tumultuous 7 days that they spent in June together when they were younger at high school, and it takes us through their relationship. So this book kind of takes us through their relationship, how it began in high school, the 7 days, and all the craziness literally that happened in those 7 days, the impact it had on each of our characters moving forward with their lives. This book really does delve into toxic relationships and toxicity, and how although you can really want to be with someone, they may not be good for you at the time or ever. And it's also about whether or not these two characters, were they able to work through their issues and come together in the end to have a healthy relationship. This is basically about how those two worlds collide, how two people can almost smash into someone, for the lack of a better phrase. It is also just about how you as an individual within your relationships and as a person need to work through traumas, and how you need to heal traumas. And we watch how Eva and Shane kind of attempt to heal and deal with their past in the present, so that moving forward, they can heal the issues and have a successful, healthy relationship. And as I read this book, I really did want Eva and Shane to be together. I really wanted them to end up together. And the book ends on a cliffhanger in that they kiss. And you understand that it's a reunification, but I feel like the author did this on purpose. And kind of left it up to you, the reader, to decide whether or not it was a healthy relationship and what happened next. I just wanted to put this disclaimer out here that in no way am I promoting that if you have an on again, off again, or toxic situation, relationship, whatever you call it, that you should be with that person. Just sometimes in life you need to go back to someone in order to heal certain things and let go of them, or you just need to let go of them. It is not that the person for you is putting you through the ringer, or you go through situations which are unhealthy. I just wanted to put that out there. Like I said before, you need to be loved, protected, cherished, understood, and heard the way you need to be, and you need to be healthy in order to do that, and in healthy relationships. But I would say this book is a really good read. It's spicy, it's saucy, it is intense. I will say that, but it's definitely worth it, because then you also get to examine your own sort of histories and traumas, and whether or not the relationship might be worth it. And I guess you will decide, if you ever read this book, whether or not it was worth it. And yeah, guys, I just wanted to say thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you think. Let me know where to improve, what to do next. But I hope you have a good day, night, afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. And I'll catch you in the next video. And peace and love and sunshine.